Good. I can't even say good morning. I just want to say hi, y'all.
I know exactly. Well, good evening. We're
It's
back.
been so long. We're back. Hey, honey bunny, how are you?
Hey, honey buddy, how you doing?
I am great. I am great. I am great. Hey guys, welcome to the autopsy of her healing, evolving resiliency. And I will say that I definitely know that we have been evolving and we have serious resiliency.
That is so true.
And I think on the back end of that, we're doing some healing too. So we are just so excited. We have not seen each other. We have not talked like we normally do. It's like we have this serious relationship. Like we see each other every week. And then we have gone on a 2 months hiatus and have not spoken really. Like we've had some brief moments, chit-chatting with one another, but
Not
hi,
the
it's
same.
so good to see you.
It's so good to see you too. And then not to mention, we haven't seen each other though. We have spoken, but we haven't seen each other. We've been
Yes.
like talking and seeing each
Yes.
other.
Yes, and catching up and doing all that good stuff. It has been crazy. So
My God, it's been crazy.
I know, I know. So we have just, like guys, we always have the show before the show, and so we were like, what do we want to talk about today? Because we really do feel like, man, it's been a minute, right? But we're just like, life
Life
happens.
happens
Dot, dot, dot. For real. Like,
to
and
all
we
of us.
and we're gonna talk and today we're gonna talk about these dots, right? For me, I'm gonna say so. Here's
Yeah, yeah. I want now. Let me just like softly interview you. So, what has been new in your life? Miss Owens. What? Because you have had like like not 180, but 360. Like your life is just in a good way. Mhm.
in a good way,
In a good way.
absolutely. Well, so here's the thing. So you guys know that I'm a realtor, right? And I'm still a realtor. As a matter of fact, tomorrow is my 6 year anniversary of being a realtor. And
Yay!
I'm like, wow, I just can't believe it because I remember when I started this business and we did, I got my license and then we did our post licensing class. And I remember our instructor said, look to the left and look to the right. And they were like, one of you will not be here within the year. And I remember saying to myself, oh my God, that can't be my narrative. Like
Yeah,
that
he's like
cannot,
that won't be me.
that won't be me. That cannot be my narrative. I felt like, I got into real estate because I was really, when I say sick and tired of working for someone and being put in situations where you feel like you don't have control over your destiny because people can at any point in time decide to put a stick a needle in your tire and let all the air out of what you're doing and stuff. And I was like, okay, I got to do something different. I can't continue doing it this way. So I went and I took my real estate license. And so I have to say it's been an awesome ride. I'm still on the ride. This ride has been a little bumpy this year. Um, it has bumped and the cart has shooken and like thrown you off, and then I like jump up and be like chasing the cart, like, wait a minute, come back. Jump on, so but that is, I'm happy for 6 years. And the other transition was that most of you probably know my mom, lived with me. We lived together, we shared a house together. And my mom has left and moved back to Charleston, South Carolina. Whew, man.
It's like, oh my God, she left her
so
baby.
so in May, this is how this thing so these wheels started turning, and they turned very quickly. We were in the house and stuff, and I was like, okay, it's time to make a decision, because I was just saying things are getting really, really expensive. I was like, maybe I need to do something different, da 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 da. And so then my mom says, and I want to go home. And I was like,
You
wait,
do?
what? Right? He like, you want to go where? She's like, I want to go home. And I was like, okay, all right. And then as I started to figure out what I was going to do, then she started going back and forth about, well, maybe we could just find another place together and we could. And I was like, I was kind of already set in my head, like, I'm about to be like walking around the house, scratching my butt. Mm-hmm. It's like, wait, and so I was really in like, I was in this mode, but fast forward. So in the month of May, my mother was supposed to, she was moving and she was moving back to South Carolina to be with family. And her move was pushed up like a week early, right? And when I say pushed up, meaning like we were packing and getting things together. And then she says, oh, they'll be here
In two
let's
hours.
say it was Thursday night, Thursday morning. It was now Tuesday.
Wednesday.
Like, wait, what? Like, oh my God, like, what are you saying to me right now? Right now, mind you, in the midst of that, some things happened for me that like, how you say you like things you kind of wish for, you had on your bucket list. And
Mhm.
so you guys know, I grew up in New York, born and raised, and I
Hey,
loved
Dad.
it, and still do love, New York, and I love Soho. And so one of my first real jobs was in Soho. And I always remember telling myself that I wanted to live in a loft in Soho. Well, of course, moving to the South, that went out the window very quickly. One, I was no longer in New York, and two, there were no lofts here.
Not,
At
not,
the
not that we know of.
Not that we know. Well, at the time, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, like the
There were
Savannah, they
more,
had. Yeah, there
right.
were.
There would be more of those if they did exist, there would have been more of those in the city of Atlanta. And I never wanted to literally live in the city of Atlanta because growing up in a city, I felt like coming here was an opportunity to do suburban life and, go into the city and not have to, do the hustle and bustle every day. And so lo and behold, I start looking for a place, like the, chapter 58, single free, doing my thing, right? And so I go to see this place and it's a loft. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, I walked in the place like, you remember when you would go someplace to a store with your parents and you'd see this doll or this bike or whatever the heck it was, and you'd be like, oh my God, that's so good. I need it. I want it. Your parents are like, okay, that's enough of that, right? To the point that you might even get a pinch or spank or something. You were going to get punished because you kept going on about this thing. And they were like, okay, that's enough of that, right? And so I walked into this place and I was like, oh, like this is it. Like this is so cute. Like it's so sexy. So fast forward, I get this loft and I'm like, I cannot believe that the way it happened, it was so quick, so fast. So in May, like I said, I think it was that second week of May, my mom moved, she packed up everything and moved to Charleston. And so now I'm left in the house to finish cleaning out this entire house by myself and to be prepared to move out by the end of May. I had the most turnaround, chasing your tail type experience of my life. Like, I would just walk into the house every day and just walk into a room and go,
Because it looks like it's not a lot of stuff, all that little stuff. This is not a lot.
right. And until even with my mother gone, right? And my mother was gone, her room is cleaned out and, other things, other rooms. But as I started to look at my room and my daughter's room, and I was just like, this is insane. But basically, in 1 month, I did two major moves, right? Okay, so I moved to my loft. Then my daughter moves out of her apartment in July. Does this story sound familiar to y'all at all? Because do y'all recall that I kind of did this last year too?
Yeah.
Not intentional, Like, I think 2 years ago, I did the same exact thing. And I was like, this is completely insane, right? But it goes to the adage, life happens. And even the best well-planned,
That's
action
laid
plan
plan. Like, yep.
doesn't go the way you anticipate it to go.
Yeah, yeah.
And so
You're
at
supposed
this,
to you write down, okay, I'm gonna do this and don't write nothing else. Because
right,
how am I gonna I'm gonna do this, but that's it.
right,
Because
right.
God literally, God only knows how you're gonna do it.
Exactly. Because what he knows the plan and I don't,
He
and
knows the
I just
plan,
wish that
honey. He knows
I
the
wish
plan.
that every now and then he would be like, hey, let me let you in on a secret. And I'd be like, what? What is it? Because I really need to know. And so
Like,
I
I got
moved it. So I moved to my loft, and then I decided, real estate is really crazy right now. And I was like, I need to make sure I expand this entrepreneurial income, right? And
you.
so, and if any of you know and you've heard, any entrepreneur knows that you have to have multiple streams of income. You just cannot depend on that one thing that you do. Even if it is the greatest thing, you have to make sure that you always have income flowing, right? And so I decided that I was going to go find employment, as I call it, my work job. So I go to find a work job, and it is where I used to work when I was in hospitality. And I was shocked that they were excited to hire me back. I was excited to be going back. And so in
That's
June,
a teaching moment because that means you don't ever want to burn your bridges when you
oh,
leave another place. You want to be able always to be able to go back.
and you know what, Steph, that's a great point, because you know what? Even when you have, I think even when you have what you call, this challenges with people you work with, certain places that you have worked or certain people that you have worked with, they're not just people you work with. You really, you bond with them, you build relationships with them. And so it really warmed my heart that they wanted me to come back. Like, they were excited. And I thought, oh my God, I don't know how this is going to go. But they were excited, which then made me excited. Right.
Mhm.
So in June, I went back to hospitality. So I just want y'all to know, my heritage, right, is Bayesian, but I am a true Jamaican right now, because I have not one job, not two jobs. I have three jobs working. You hear me? I have three, not one, not two. I have three jobs I'm working right now. Okay. And so I'm saying all that to say is that, sometimes we think that we have these plans, not think, we make plans, and we do that. We're taught to do that. But I really realized that it is important to know how to flip on a dime,
Literally, literally.
literally. Like, because when we get so comfortable in what it is that we're doing, because I want to tell y'all, I could have thought of every, and I not could have, I did. I had every reason why I could not take on another job, right? And here's the key word: job. Job, right? Because I have a career. I'm a realtor. I have a career. I don't have a job. This is what I love doing. This is how I make money. But this thing that I was doing, that I am doing, as you all know, if you see the market, it's up, it's down, it's flat, it's high, it's everything right now, right? And so it was getting a little like, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So for me, life happens in the mindset of, I had to keep reminding myself, and I still do. Um, One of my friends always says, never be afraid of the threats that life offers to you. And that's how I'm living life right now, not being afraid of the threats, because the things that those what ifs, and I am good for living on a what if. What if I do this, and what if then this happens, and then what if that happens, and do you know that if I do that, I'm certain that this thing over here is going to happen. And I have really tried, and I am really still working through not living in the shadows of stuff, because it's just like the word says, yea, though I walk through the shadow of death, it's a shadow. A shadow cannot hurt you.
Exactly.
A shadow cannot hurt you. Threats cannot hurt you. The what ifs can't hurt you unless you continue to feed into it and give it life. And
Yeah, because
so
fear isn't real.
it is not, because what ifs and shadows and threats are when we start to give into fear.
Hmm.
And fear can become debilitating,
Absolutely.
you know? And so never did I think at 58 I would be making a decision to go back to a quote unquote job. But you know what I realized? It is not a I have to go to work. It is a blessing and a privilege to be able to go somewhere to say I work.
Exactly.
And I have to remind myself of that it is not a I have to, because you know what? I don't have to do anything.
Nope.
I don't have to do anything. But what I do know is that what I think I don't have to do, what am I going to do if I don't do it? So for me, that's a big lesson. And for me, like I said, life will flip you on your head sometimes, or flip you on your behind sometimes, to that point where you're just like, I don't even know what just happened. But I'm excited, and I'm learning a lot about myself, about how resilient I really, really am.
Exactly. I know that's right. That's the
Like,
R in her.
uh,
Okay.
the R in her, right? You are right. Because the
Exactly.
R is the rock, the R is resilient, the R is I'm gonna keep on not repeating same things, but
Hmm.
doing something different, right?
Hmm.
um
Hmm.
I just think, life does happen, and it's happening for all of us in so many different ways, so many different manners, right? And it's also where I am with my mom. My mom is 78 years old. I'm an only child, so it's been me and my mom my whole life. And I'm seeing, my mom aging, which also reminds me that I'm aging. The R is the reality of hello, somebody. You're not 28. You're not even 38. You are
Not even 48.
58 years, not even 48. You are way closer to 60 and
Exactly.
70 than you.
You are ever to 48 or
What?
38.
What?
Absolutely. Yes.
Hello,
It's
somebody.
definitely a
And
blessing.
it is a blessing. But you know what? We got to find the blessings, because so many times, and I know for me, I am a believer, but I will run myself into a hole of what ifs and doubt and worryation. And then I smack myself up and be like, what are you doing? Get yourself together, right? So I just say, life is happening. So I said all that, and so Steph was like, I'm gonna interview. She's interviewing me, but so Steph, what's been going on in your world?
Lord have mercy. I have a new roommate. Well, it was an old roommate, now it's a new roommate. The same roommate, but now they're back. But no, my daughter moved back home after
Mm-hmm.
she graduated from college. She got her master's. So
Yay!
I
Congratulations.
know, I'm so happy for her. So it's been
Yes.
nice though to have like because when she lived at home, really lived at home, she was 18,
Right.
and now to come back home at 23, it's like wow, so but it's nice to have her home. um so she's doing good. She's looking for a job, of course, now.
Yes.
But so like after being home alone, I lived alone for periods of time in my life, a long time.
Right.
So now to have company is nice though. I missed her,
Yes.
but to see the woman that she has become, so but it's really really nice.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then well, next month It'll be a year since I've been with my boyfriend.
Okay.
So that's nice, that's going really, really well. You know,
Good.
yeah. We had some like like the valleys, but we rode through it. So yeah,
Yay. Peaks and valleys. Don't you love them?
exactly.
And
But
valleys.
yeah, I think that I just had to kind of just be and just
Mm-hmm.
because it's different, especially after you've gone through something to really
Yes.
decide that I'm gonna, kind of put yourself out there and be
Right.
vulnerable because you have to be vulnerable to really be in a relationship.
Right.
I mean, if you want something that's, meaningful, that you want to build on a future together,
Right.
you have to be vulnerable. So I've learned a lot, and trying to navigate that too with my children, my family, because it's kind of just been me, like, all right, where we going? What we doing? Now I
Mm-hmm.
have to consider, there's someone else in my life that cares about me that,
Right.
have to consider, like, so what are we going to do? So it's been interesting. We went out this weekend with his son and his son's girlfriend. And so, went to a function. So I said, well, it's like a double date. And he was like, not really. I'm like, yeah, the four of us going to a function together. I said,
Right. 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 Right.
we had such a really nice time. And then we had went out with my daughter and her boyfriend. So we went on that double date, like about a month ago. So that was really nice. So, it's just a lot. Then we had the big graduation party for Savannah.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a lot going on. All the projects I had going on, I had to start finishing to get everything done to have the party here. Got that done. So it's been a lot of work.
You
Yeah.
know what? Something I have truly discovered, and I'm saying that I am loving right now. Like you just mentioned Savannah, being back at home. And I was talking to my mom the other day and I said, you know what? I really am enjoying this relationship with my children now. And because I get to see them in their adulthood, right? And and though I'm mom and I will always be mom, but I've always been a open mom. Like I give my children a lot of leverage, right? Because my mom always gave me a lot of leverage. Um, and some people will say, that's it, but my children also know there are lines that we don't cross, right?
Exactly.
So as long as that stays intact, but I enjoy the moments that I get to spend with my young adult children at this point in
Mhm.
life. Like it is like the other night I was talking to my son and who is going to turn 29 this month. Well, as a matter of fact, on Friday. And I'm thinking to myself, where did 29 came?
I know. I mean, when I met you, he was one. So
Yes,
we have been knowing each other for like 28 years. I mean,
yes. So it's like he's gonna turn 29. Isabella just turned 20 in July. Nadia turns 35 this month too. Right. And when you met Nadia was, I think, 5.
live.
Yeah, yeah. Like she was 5 or 6, yeah, somewhere about there. Right. So I'm like, this is insane to me, right? But I was talking to Rondell. And then Izzy called me because she was on her way home from work. So she calls me every night when she's driving home from work. So I said, hold on a minute. So I put us on a conference call. So we're all on the phone talking and laughing. I mean, just cutting up so bad, like for 30 minutes, because it took Isabella like 30 minutes to get home. So we're talking and talking and talking. And so she got home and she was like, okay, I love y'all. Bye. And I tell, we said, I love yous. And we got off the phone. Well, my son called me back and he said, hey, I wasn't sure if you heard me say that I love you. And I said, no, I heard you. He goes, you know what? And I got to tell you, I really appreciate you doing that tonight. And I was like, what? He's like, I don't think we've ever done that, like talked on the phone together. And it was, I mean, we had such an amazing time. And it reminds me of no matter what's going on in life, your family, your friends, your children, your peace of life is all that really matters first.
Oh, absolutely.
It is
Yes.
all that really matters first. I mean, granted, none of us want to be broke. None of us want to be homeless. None of us want to be without the things we need to manage in life. But I realized that, you know what? You got to realize in life that even if all those things went away, what do you have? What do you have left? Because if your car breaks or you lose your job or you lose your house or you lose all your money, between your family, your friends, your loved ones, your health, and your peace of mind, you'll be okay.
It's true. It's so true.
You're gonna make it through, you
Hmm.
know. And I
Hmm.
think about, every day we watch the news, every day we hear the news of some young person, some person who wasn't sick, somebody who
I know. I know.
we've
That's
grown
crazy.
up with,
Yeah.
and we just see people passing away.
It's so
And
true.
it just doesn't make sense. I mean, it's crazy.
It's
So
sad.
I don't know. I don't know. It's just kind of, it just makes me more appreciative of life.
Mhm.
I was talking to a friend, and hadn't talked to her in a while, and she shared something that, within her family that happened between her parents. And I was just like, what? You know, and it makes you think like, what what brings us to those points where we go so far that we have ruined someone else's life and we have ruined our own,
Mhm.
you know
Yeah.
um and I think part of that is that we are now living in this world where everybody is really, really selfish. I mean, people are selfish. I mean, I think we all need some selfishness because that's the way you take care of yourself.
But
But
not selfishness like that where it
but
destroys other people.
selfishness is becoming brutal. It's
Yeah.
becoming
I
um
don't even call that selfish.
inhumane. Yeah,
It's called something else.
it's becoming inhumane. I was watching the news today, and
Center.
they've been showing this mother of four, young mother, African American. She has four children. She was married. She has been missing. She had been missing since, I think, like July 17th or something. So yeah, like 3 weeks. She's been missing. Of course, whenever I hear that, you already know in your gut. They had found her car. Her car was burnt up and,
Mm.
and taken apart. And then they continued searching. So they found her, I think, Sunday morning, and they have since arrested the husband. And in my head, in my heart, I am so I'm so sad. And anytime I hear these type of things go on, and I don't know, something happened to us during COVID, coming out of COVID, because we are malicious, we are mean, we are short patient, we are, if I don't like it, then I'm just going to take you out of you are my problem, right? It's like someone else is making you, or this is what you believe, is making you feel in some sort of way that your only resolve
Yes, right.
is to get rid of that
Eliminate
person
permanently.
permanently, right?
But
and and
I don't know. I don't know if it's. I mean, yeah. I think. Well, the reality is that we have so many more people in the world. But when I tell you what, I'm 59 years old, and I know numerous stories of people
me so
I know
we
or
both
people
do.
that I
Yeah,
don't know. That,
yeah,
and I think that when you think about it, I don't know. I think that it's just so many more people in the world. But I think that, and that I'm telling you because of doing all these stories, for me, and maybe not all the time, but I do feel some of the people that I personally knew, there was some indication of that this relationship was going left, that this man didn't want you, the woman didn't want you. And
right.
for me, I'm like, when somebody say they don't want you, you get to
It's
step
time to
in.
go.
It's time to
Right.
go because
And
when they get like that, exactly, they will do whatever they
it
need to
takes,
do.
right, right. And it's one of these things where, I was talking to my mechanic on Saturday. My mechanic was fixing my car. And so he said to me, he said, "Hey, are you dating?" And I said, "Yeah." He says, what's your take on dating?" And I said, "Well, I'm gonna
Mm,
be honest with you. I'm happy not to be single because I
yeah,
just don't trust people."
exactly.
Right? You don't trust people because it's like the sheep and wolf clothing
It's
is
real.
it's real.
It's more real than it
It
ever
is
has
real.
been.
It's more real than Little Red Riding Hood and
Yes,
Cinderella.
honey.
And man, it is so like,
I was having this
because
conversation with my boyfriend because I'm like, I said, I don't know if I had known you for 40, literally at this point, I've known him for 40 years.
right,
Yeah. I mean, the idea of saying you meet somebody that you never knew, like that's great, but I don't, yeah, okay. Now I like the fact that I've known you for 40 years.
right, right. And what's crazy about it is that, we all do evolve, and we hope, rather, we would hope that we all do
Yeah,
evolve, right?
that's the
But
idea.
it is interesting to me that the world, people seem to be very diabolical
Oh,
in their quest to destroy
literally destroyed.
people.
Right. Right.
um and so when I say life happens, trust me, we all have enough weight of our own to be self-destructive,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
And then we get with people who have their own
Agenda.
baggage and stuff, right? But then it's interesting to me that you don't light your damn tent on fire, you light my tent on fire, right? And for me, I struggle with that because not wanting to be judgmental of anybody, because we all have the ability to be angry. We all have the
Sure.
ability to go to anger where we're blinded.
Mhm.
But the number of and it's nothing new, because when I was talking to my mechanic, to get back to him, he was like, "Well, I realized that, you know, I'm looking for asking, women, well, what do you bring to the table?" He's like, "Because I can cook, I can clean, I can fix, I can,
Yeah, that's not the question you want to ask
you
a woman.
so he's doing, he's like, I can do all that for myself. So what is it that you're bringing?" And he listed all these things that he did not want. I said, "Well, let me ask you a question. Now that you've listed all that you don't want, what is it that you do want?"
You do want.
Right? So he says, "I want someone who's my equal." Well, what does that mean for you?
Exactly. Because
So then he, so he,
it's never
so
50-50.
so he started rattling off, he's like, "I've taken care of my bills. I don't have any bills. I don't have any debt. I'm at peace. I'm happy. I could walk around my house in my drawers. And, I just want to be happy. I want to be at peace with myself, blah, 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 blah." And so, so his thing was basically saying, he basically said, "I want a woman who got her own shit." Right. And I said, "I get that. I get that. Nothing wrong with that." I said, "But at the same time, for you to say you don't have any baggage anymore," I said, that's not real. We all have baggage. We may have some baggage that we've been carrying our whole lives. We have some baggage that we literally will take, we unpack it, we repack it, we reorganize it. we
We buy
may take we may
we
take all the we may
for it.
take all the weight out of the bag and put it in another damn bag. Okay, but we all have baggage. And so for him to say, "I want somebody who don't have any baggage," well, brother, you're going to be by yourself for a very, very long time. Because first of all, for you to think that you don't have baggage is your first bag. Okay, that's your first piece of luggage.
And just because you can't see it, don't mean it's not there.
uh, Hello.
Let's
Right.
be clear. Just because you can't see it, it's not there. I mean, years ago, my parents had a friend, and he was younger than they used to hang out. My parents used to, party. And this young man ends up getting another young friend of my mother's pregnant. And I think I shared this with you before. And the girl was like, she was a really innocent girl. It's the first man she ever been with. She gets pregnant, country girl, and he was gonna marry her. This in the '60s, late '50s, early '60s. He
Mm-hmm.
never showed up at the courthouse.
Mm.
And then, like, of course, my parents was on the warpath, so he finally showed up, months or so later, and was like, "Nah, because I didn't want to marry her because she wasn't a good girl." Well, she was a good girl until you started messing with her, you know. I got this other girl, and she's a good girl, and she does everything I want. She ain't like that. She ain't got no kid. I mean, she ain't pregnant. Well, she's not pregnant by nobody else. You got her pregnant. You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
You were a part of that
Right,
situation,
yeah,
your
she was
friend.
pregnant on her own. But let's
Yeah.
let's let's push this like 35 years later.
Mm-hmm.
The good girl he married, she was all this and she was everything. They've been married, they got two kids, they've been married about 40, 35, 40 years. Then he find out she had two kids before he ever met her. Miss Good Girl.
That she didn't bother to tell him about.
No,
Yeah, see.
their kids was grown. He just happened to find out, okay?
Hence the reason why I just said we
That's
all have baggage, right? We may change the bag.
you
You
may think
may,
like that's like the because he couldn't see he thought like he couldn't see no
right,
bag, but she had no
right. Because you know what? Some of us carry designer baggage. Some of us carry hobo baggage. Some of us carry moderate baggage, but we
but
all
some of us
got it.
some of us carry deceitful bags, so that's very
Ooh,
deceitful.
that's
Very
very deceitful.
okay.
But here's the
Extreme.
thing. How come him being the guy looking for the good girl, did not see any of that? And you
It's like
know why? Because
never
you were
realized
so
that
blinded. You were
two
blinded
babies can have
by
a hoo-ha before you ever touched them.
uh,
Like, let me tell you, I used to be like every time I think about that story, it makes me laugh. Like, man, you don't play just so oh she
very, very badly. Very, very badly.
yeah,
I
but
just, I
let me tell
just,
you something underneath this. I mean, women have been doing that forever. Let me go catch this husband. But usually they bring the babies eventually. She was like,
oh
had no
no, I know people who have married
never put the
people
baby
and was pregnant with someone else's child
Oh, I
and
know that too.
married
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it was years later once the children were no longer children, the children became adults to then find out that hey,
That's not
that was not my
my
father.
exact. Oh, I know many of those
Or
stories.
these were neither of these people were my parents.
And yep, I know those stories too. I know those stories.
Neither of these people were my parents. No, that not my mama's, not my daddy's. Ain't I don't
Exactly.
belong to neither one of y'all.
Exactly. No
And
DNA.
and I get it that people will take in, I get it, but the problem is that when we continue to hold on to all these bags, these secrets, these
Oh,
hurts, these
it
pains,
just kill you.
it just steals your joy and it puts you in
Exactly.
places and helps you to behave in manners that you may not have otherwise been. But when we're trying to hide our own mess or say we don't have any baggage, that's when we trip over our own stuff and we don't realize it.
But just from the like, I don't know your mechanic. Just listening to what you were saying that he was saying about himself, just from the conversation, you could tell he got baggage. That's why because when you have to present yourself like that, whenever anybody's putting all their perfectness on Front Street,
Mm,
they should be like, okay, now what's that
right.
about? You
You
know what I mean?
ain't all that.
Yeah, but I mean because though the reality is when you feel good about who you are, if that person takes the time to get to know you and you want to get to know that person, then eventually they'll know all those things about you. To
Right.
put your whole perfection of a resume of who you are on Front Street
Right.
tells I don't want no part of you. As soon as somebody starts reading to me their resume, I'm this, I could cook, I could clean, I could do this. Don't even talk to me. You know
Right.
what I mean? Because that is it's telling me something about you.
Right. It's telling me really what you do not have.
Exactly.
That's what
Exactly.
that's what it's really telling me. It's
Yeah,
telling me what you do not have. It's telling me you're lax. It's telling me
exactly.
the things that you are really not, but you keep building yourself up that you
Because
are,
if that's who you truly are,
you wouldn't have to talk about it.
hello, you just would do it.
Right.
You just you're like, how do you just be about it?
Right.
That's it.
Be
You
about
know,
it. Don't talk about it. Be about it.
exactly. So therefore, you doing all this lip service, like yeah, okay. Because my
And
thing, like I said, you go, I can show you better than I can tell you. I'm not
well,
there.
now there you go. There you go. I think it's just, I think we are, again, we are extremely selfish nowadays. We are extremely wrapped into self. Um, and we are, I don't know. It's something, and it's more than just being selfish. It is like,
It's very
you know,
self-centered. I think it's, you're
we,
more self-centered. Like, let me tell you something. When a man or woman, when you're married, and I'm going to use married. When you're married and you're with someone and you have built this life together, all of a sudden, you know, you don't look good enough and you don't do this because and all these problems because now they don't want to share their money because now they
mm,
have something else. They want their money to themselves.
mm-hmm,
And they become self-centered for whatever. Maybe they never had any money. They got a promotion on their job. Somebody else is looking at them, 10 years younger than you. That they think they're cute now. All these kind of things. I know one of my brothers. He was dating this. He was married to this woman, but he married like we were like, okay, but why do you want to marry her? No, yeah, I have her, and she didn't have really nice teeth. Teeth were really like she was a nice looking girl, but teeth was like not good. And when she married my brother, when he met her, she already had a baby. And then they got married. Then she had another baby, and I think she probably this time had the two babies. So she had two from my brother. Long story short, girlfriend got her teeth fixed. When I tell you, she was too cute for my brother. Yeah. And really, and then went out there and got with someone else, and it didn't, and the whole situation did not end well. But
mm.
it's like, and I thank God that my brother's safe. But it's like, really, but these are the things that people do. It's self-centered. It's like, really, I don't look at that. Where does I think that not only that, people have no loyalty. What happened to your loyalty? Because let
There
me
is
tell you,
that is not a thing anymore. I think loyalty went out the window, and I don't know when it went out the window, but it's the same thing with being self-centered. I'm only
what's going
about
to happen
me. I'm about me. So what I'm not going to do is totally tell you who I am. Like I hear young people say, you know, their idea or the idea of dating is not even a thing,
I
which I
know.
think is very interesting. It's not a thing.
I
People
know.
nowadays, it's a hookup.
Yeah.
Everybody just wants to hook up with. So, in other words, you and I are gonna get together. You're willing to have sex with me. You're willing to sleep with me, but you don't want to do nothing else with me, right?
Mhm. Mm.
And you want me to say, okay, I'm okay with that, right? Until you're not okay with it, and then when you're not okay with it, and now we got a problem again. Life is happening for all of us, but I think it's really important to, as we always talk about, to take that self-evaluation about how you value yourself, because how you value yourself is not the same way other people will value you, especially if you don't have that value for you. Life does happen.
For
Life
sure.
is happening every day, every second, every minute. And the decisions we make always is going to have an impact. Can be
Mhm.
positive, can be negative, can maybe seem as though it's not having any effect at all until you find yourself on the other side of what you thought was not effective,
Mhm.
or find out that it was effective. So this life happening is really, I don't know. I don't know what it's going to take for us to get back to a point where we just behave like decent human beings.
Beans. What happened to our decency?
Our decency, our self-respect, our
Mhm.
our our natural care for another person,
For another human being. Right.
for another human being, for the fact that it is a privilege and an honor to wake up every day. It's a privilege, it's a blessing to wake up
Absolutely.
every day, right? And to wake up, even if you don't have everything you thought you should have by now, everything that you wanted to have by now, the things are, again, is not the blessing.
No.
It is
Because
not. That's the things are not the
you're
blessing.
happy with the things if you're not happy with yourself.
Exactly.
And then all the things that you want, if you're not happy with what you have, you're never gonna get any other things that you want.
No.
You have
And
to
that's
be
the thing. If you never learn how to be satisfied with the small things, you will I hate to say it, but when
just
you do
satisfied,
not, when
whatever
you
it
don't
may be.
manage or you are not satisfied, you don't normally get to the big things. And if you get it, you lose it quickly, more quickly than you got it. Because you don't know what to do with it. Because
Yeah.
life happens for real. And I think we're caught up in so much stuff nowadays. I'm just like,
What people think. Like now with social media is, like, I mean, as much as it's like a double-edged sword.
oh
You
my
know,
God.
it's
Yes,
like
it is.
everybody like, oh, how many likes I all this stuff on Facebook. It's gotten like, and I can't believe, you talking about people in our age group and older that
Oh,
are just,
yes.
interested in that stuff, and that's so important. And you got to take a picture of your food and how it looked and where you ate, and every inch of your life is on the social media. I just don't understand that.
I was
Nobody know where I am. I don't
I
even.
was on I was on Facebook the other night. And I because now working 3 jobs, I don't have time to be on Facebook. Okay. But I was on Facebook the other night, and the person will, of course, I'm not gonna put nobody's name out there. But I was on Facebook, and this person that I am familiar with, like we're not best friends or anything like that. I'm familiar with her.
We're friendly.
Right. And she used to be married, and she's no longer married. And I won't even say how we are acquainted. I'm just gonna say,
We're friendly.
right. And she is not she's not a young woman, right? So she's not like 20 something years old or even early 30s or anything like that. She's got to be, in her 40s, maybe a little bit, 40, at least 40. Anyway, she was in her home dressed in black lingerie with the side up on the hip. The hair was wet and wavy. She's in her bathroom with all your bathroom stuff on the counters. And
Okay.
she's standing there talking about this. Oh, no, because this is what 50 looks like. And I was
Okay.
just, listen, I'm looking at this thing going, what the
Wow.
hell? What you doing? Like, I just was like, is this what we're doing now? Is this life happens? Don't get me wrong. Life happens. I get it, right? We get divorced. Somebody tells us they don't love us anymore. Somebody leaves us. We lose a job. We lose our parents. We lose our children. We lose ourselves. I get it. But getting up here, you're an adult. You're an adult. And you're behaving as badly as the young folks who we're telling them, be careful what you're putting out there on social media,
Exactly.
because
It
it
lives
lives out there forever.
forever.
But I could not believe, and I really looked at this thing and I was like, what is going on with you that you did that in your home, leaned up like you was pretty much doing soft porn.
Wow.
And so I was just like, I always pray God that, no, I thank God for the years of young and youth where I was foolish, that there was no damn Facebook, there was no damn Instagram, there was no TikTok, there was, there was none of that. Thank you, Jesus. Okay.
Oh
And
Lord.
thank the Lord that people's minds, you can't take their pictures and put them onto something. When that happens, I'm going into hiding. So I'm just saying, I'm life happens. Life is happening every day. That's why it's called life. That's why it's called living. But man, can we just sometimes pull back and really think about the stuff we're doing? And I
Yeah.
know sometimes hurt, pain, disappointment, all those things will cause you to act outside of yourself. I know that to be true. They will. But I want you to remember that when life is happening and you go out and do all this crazy stuff, what does Steph and I always tell you? The skeletons will
Oh,
come
come
out
out the
and
closet.
chase you all around the damn room.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, they coming back. They're coming back at you now. Nothing's done in the dark. Everything done in the dark will come to the light. It's
Right.
not going
And
to.
sometimes, and guess what? It don't even have to be anybody else's light. It's just
Oh no,
your light.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Because some
Because
people
we are our own worst critic.
hide, right? People are hiding secrets from themselves. They own secrets. They be like, "Oh, that didn't really happen. Nobody knew it happened,
Yeah,
but you."
yeah. And then something happens that it then again, your skeleton comes to be tapping you, going, here, see, remember this? Do you remember when we did this? You remember what we did? Yeah, and you're like, no, 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 no. Yeah, no, you see right here. Just remember when you did this?
Because it didn't forget.
Right. The mind is a dangerous thing. Like, okay, because as much as we can try to change ourselves, we can move and move different states. We can
Yeah.
change how we dress, how we walk, how we talk. We can
All
lie
plastic
about,
surgery. They
we
only
can
really
lie about where we
surgery.
grew up. We can change faces. We can get boobs. We can all of
Fake
this stuff.
accents, fake accents, it's a fake accents.
But
All the
when
fake.
you lay down at night, it's only you, yourself, and yourself. So life is happening, but you know what? Sometimes I think we just got to pull back and do a revow. Just
Well,
really think
you
about
need to like I think that when especially when life is happening to you, you need to just sit and just chill because you're not even in your own right mind. You're trying to
you're
get it all
not.
together. And I don't know what I can't to this day. I really can't. I posted something on Facebook. I had to look for post my words or whatever. Whatever I was, I posted. It was during my divorce. My girlfriend Dawn called me up. She said, "Take it down." I was like, "What?" She's like, "Take it down."
Take it down. Amen.
She said, "Because you're going through a divorce right now." She said, it just don't sound right, you
Right.
know."
Don't do
And
that.
the I took it down, but I was like, because you have to, yeah, when you're not in your right mind and everything's going, life is going a little crazy for you, you got to just sit with it. I know this young lady was probably feeling like, after going through a divorce, she's 50, I want to know that I still feel love. But you putting yourself out there on Front Street, that's not the kind of love you want to get.
That's not the attention you want, baby.
You don't want that. You don't
Yeah.
want that.
And again, it's easy to forget ourselves when we have parented, we've worked, we've been wives, we've been, in the, we always speak to the brothers too. You've been a husband, you've been wrong. Women, we are not perfect by no means,
No,
right?
no, no, no.
And we can, and listen, we definitely, now I'm gonna tell y'all, men, we got the game on being treacherous.
Yeah, yeah. No,
We got
nobody.
game on being treacherous
Nobody
because
said do it better than a woman.
we the silent partners. We will sit for years and be planning. Yeah, no worry. Don't worry, it's okay. Right. And you come home one day, the whole damn house is gone. When I say the house is gone, like literally we done took it off the foundation.
I had a girlfriend that did that.
See? I'm not making that up.
And I mean, she played it. She played it so well. I was like, I didn't even see it coming. I know that this girl. We were friends. The girl that had another girl. We were friendly. She did the same thing, and only thing she was African, and she fled the country. She took
Yeah.
everything, and she can't come back into the country though. But it
I've
was like,
seen I've seen women who have left men and went and like, when you went to the house, they left they left his favorite chair and some paper plates and some cups.
yeah, yeah,
And a
because we
pit and
we're planners.
that portrait that was of y'all over the fireplace. That's was all was left. Everything else was gone. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, we all have the ability to become diabolical. We
Oh,
do.
absolutely. No ifs, ands, or buts about
Especially in hurt, in pain, in disappointment, and whatever it is you're caught in, right? But again, life happens, life is happening, but we got to remember to sit down and kind of clear yourself, clear your mind,
it.
clear your
Take a
heart,
breath.
find your
Meditate, take
peace.
a breath. Yes, you got to take a walk, because the reality is when you do all that diabolical stuff you're thinking of and plotting and planning, somebody's planning on you too, and there's
uh,
nothing good about that. And let me tell you
right.
something. Usually in these situations, there are children involved, and
Yeah.
they get caught in the crosshairs, and it's not the crossfires. It's not their fault, you know.
Yeah.
And us as adults, stop acting like children and grow the f up. I mean, you have
Correct.
to be with your children. That's not the answer.
No.
Sit down, and you gotta like put your pain aside and whatever the situation is going on, so you can work together to do it the best way you know how. You
Right.
know, and if there are no children involved, go get the help that you need so you can heal. I see
Right.
all these women and men walking around here for these failed relationships and haven't healed, and just going wrecking havoc on other people's lives.
Yeah.
And it's
Absolutely.
disgusting. Stop wrecking havoc on other people's life when you know you're still in love with somebody else. Either try to put the relationship back together or get the hell over it.
Right. And move on.
Yeah, right, exactly. Because that stupid thing. Let me listen. Best way to get over one man is getting underneath a new one. That's the most
No,
stupidest thing I've ever heard.
no,
Yeah, yeah.
no.
How's that been doing for you lately?
Right, right. How'd that work out?
Yeah, it don't work out. Right, exactly. That don't work out. The stupidest thing I ever heard in my life. Heal. I had my cousin say, "Heal, deal, heal before you deal," and it's
Be
true.
right. Be right.
There's nothing good about that. And it all, I mean, I see babies coming under these relationships. I see marriages coming under these relationships. Oh, it didn't work. Oh, I wonder why. You can't start something under a lie, or, you have to do the right thing. You know,
I was watching something last night and we're gonna end on this. I was watching this movie last night called I think it said the final say, I think it was. And this basically the concept of this movie, it was a faith-based movie. So, I love faith-based movies because hey, I'm always looking to grow my faith. That's an important thing.
that's
I
right.
need it every day. But
Every day.
this movie was based on a couple who really loved each other, was in love and got married, and their problem was like Sarah in the Bible, she could not get pregnant. She would
Okay.
get pregnant, but she would not have a viable pregnancy. She kept miscarriaging and so forth and so on. So, of course, her husband was really into the youth at the church and playing with them, and the kids would come ring his doorbell, say, "Come outside and play with us," and all this stuff. And so she started to resent his relationship with 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 the children, right? And so she basically forced her husband into divorce,
Mm,
like forced him into, like, he was like, no, like, even if we never have children, I love you. That has nothing to do with it. But she
mm,
forced him. She left him and said, I just, because I cannot give you children, I want you to have a happy and a wonderful life. Long story short, the file for divorce, the divorce paper had not come yet, the decree. So her friend is like, so he's dating? And she's like, yeah. She's like, how do you feel about that? She's like, I don't, she's like, it's good for him, right? So she says, well, what are you gonna do? And she's like, I'm gonna go get some boobs and a tummy tuck, right? So she makes this appointment, she goes to the doctor. Fast forward, the doctor comes back out and tells her friend, her sister, they grew up together, hey, she can't have the procedure. She'll be out shortly. And she's like, what happened? What's going on?
yes, breast cancer.
She's pregnant. She's pregnant, right? And she's 6 months pregnant. And
Whoa.
she didn't know she was pregnant, right? And
Ah.
so I'm watching this thing and I'm like, man, that's crazy, right? So now she goes, well, what do I say to my husband? Hey, babe, I was just playing. I know we're divorced, but guess what? I'm pregnant. So she invites him over and she gives him the divorce papers first. And then she shows him the sonogram and he freaks out. He goes, "You knew how bad I wanted this. 10 years we tried and we tried. And now you're pregnant for some other man." And he is nuts, right?
Oh, he thinks this now. He don't know it's his
He
baby.
thinks that she's pregnant for some other man. And she goes, "This is your baby." He's like, "No, huh?" Right? He's like, "What are you talking about?" And then she tells him that she's 6 months pregnant. So they have this baby and they remarry. The point of this whole story is life happens. And sometimes we make decisions based on just what we are feeling, right? Because that's how we live our lives, based on feelings, right? And sometimes we just need to sit back, evaluate our situation, and say, maybe I need to wait.
And not only that is where you're like, if you're feeling, if you're in a good space and you feel good, those are the feelings you act on. You don't act on the feelings when you're in a bad state. That's not the feelings you act on.
Right.
You know what
Because
I mean?
typically that's impulsive behavior,
Exactly. Yeah,
right?
but those are the bad. Those you're going to be doing bad things. And that's not your. It's where you're operating from. If you're
Right.
operating from high energy, even if it's impulsive, if you're operating from high energy, those are all good things. You're operating in a good
Right.
area. Low
Right.
energy, you're operating in a really bad area.
Right, because you're making decisions based on a feeling that is hopefully temporary, right?
Yep, from
Hopefully
low
temporary.
vibrations,
And
from
then if
low
it's
vibration.
not temporary, that means you really do need to take a step back and then go get the help that you need to help
Exactly.
you work through whatever is going on. I think too many times we lean on our own understanding, which typically gets us in trouble each and every time. It never fails. We find ourselves making decisions that are regretful, making decisions that become harmful, that we can, or making those decisions that are unrecoverable, right? Because, some things we don't recover from, some things we
Oh,
don't come back
absolutely.
from, some
Absolutely. Yeah.
things we just, you know, sometimes the other person makes a decision for us
Mhm.
that was not what we had planned,
Not at
right?
all. Not at all. Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I just think day by day, every day, before you leave your home, before you get out of your bed, take the time to really, really evaluate, what is this day going to look like for me? And then if it doesn't, what am I going to do with it?
Mhm.
Because most times the day does not look like the way, we always make plans. You have to. You can't live life without making some
Yeah,
plans.
you get some plans going on, but like I said, you make the plan is, and don't do nothing else. Right, nothing else.
Right. Right. The
That's
plan
the
is
plan. Just
I
like, okay,
the
let me
plan is I woke up. That's the
this.
plan. I woke up. And
I
then
woke up.
then
I
you just
woke
go,
up. I got to stretch my fingers and my toes. Everything's working. You can talk. So that means you didn't have a stroke in the middle of the night, and everything's moving
I
along.
right,
Okay, now thank you God, wake me up this morning.
right.
Okay,
I got a roof, I got four walls and a floor. All right.
exactly. Let me look
Right.
at my
I got a
little
door,
list. What I gotta do
I
today.
got clothes to wear, I got food in my refrigerator. It may not always be all the food I want, but I
Uh,
still got food.
that's
And
right.
I have clothes. I laughed at myself the other day because downsizing from, multiple closets in a home to two closets now. It's
Oh my
like,
God, I can't get to imagine because you
baby,
got
what you
clothes.
gonna do with all this stuff? But that tells me whether I believe it or not is on me. But guess what? I know that I'm abundantly blessed because I have more than enough of anything I could ever imagine, ask, or think of, right? I mean, that's the point. I think we have to remind ourselves every day. Life is happening. Life happens every day, every second, every minute, every breath. But I
Mhm.
think it's important for us to take those steps back and reevaluate. And if you need a pity party, have it. If
Oh
you got to cry, cry. If
yeah,
you
you
got
got
to
come on.
break the pillow and throw the pillow all around the house, then do it.
Mhm.
But we got to learn how to release better, and we got to learn how to hold on to the right things,
Mhm.
you
So
know,
true.
because
Yeah.
life is happening. And
It's gonna happen with or without you. Hey,
right,
it moves on. I mean, unfortunately, you see it every day. Somebody that we know, or somebody in your family, somebody else's
right,
family passes away, and it still moves on. You know what I
yep,
mean? No,
right.
one monkey don't stop no show.
Nope, nope,
And that's
not
what
at
God
all.
wants to do. It's gonna, yeah. Even when you giving your whole life to this job, honey, somebody else is gonna come along and
And do it for you.
exactly.
They'll
So you
put your obituary on the desk and post your job at the same time. That's how that's gonna go.
That happened to a friend. One of her girlfriends, she passed at work. You know. It's so sad. So you got to be mindful of what you're doing, what you're putting out there, what you're doing for yourself, and you
Yep,
do have to take care of yourself so you could be able to take care of your loved ones and do all things that you need to do. And that's
absolutely.
important. Self care is very important, and I think that's really when you really think about it. People aren't taking care of themselves. That's why people have all these issues with their head.
Yeah,
Mental
yeah,
issues and doing all these things they wouldn't normally do because no self-care, self-medicating, you know,
yep,
not dealing with the real issue at hand.
yep.
All of a sudden when you don't deal with the real issue at hand, oh, it's your fault.
Right.
You know what I
And
mean? How's
and
my
nobody can do more to you than you no more to you than you allow them to.
absolutely,
Or that
absolutely.
you sit and allow and stay in when you know that maybe I need to move on, but you continue thinking it's going to get better and it doesn't. So life
And
happens.
it does happen. My
I
boyfriend
hope
was
it
having
happens good for you though.
it happens, but sometimes you have to make a change. My boyfriend and I was having this conversation. It's like, nobody wants to blow their life up, you know,
Right.
especially at this age, but sometimes it's necessary.
That
Just
absolutely.
have the life that you want. Okay, fine. Just to be like, oh, we just got a new car. I can't leave now. We got a new car. We got this house. And you sitting there, you miserable.
Things
What
don't make you happy.
things don't make you happy? You got the car and you got a house and you're so unhappy. And this person is cheating on you every time you turn around, or you cheating on them. They got babies outside the marriage. What's that? But a lot of people are living
Craziness.
like and they feel comfortable, or he's beating on you, you beating on him, whatever the situation may be.
Nobody
Wait,
should be beating on nobody.
no, they should keep your hands to
To
yourself.
yourself. Right. Like your
Keep
mom used to say,
it to
keep
yourself.
your hands to yourself.
Keep your hands to yourself. Don't you be hitting on me.
Hey guys, we are so happy to be
No,
back. And I know
just be
this was very extended today, but we're happy to be back. And so I hope that we shared some nuggets today that, makes you think. If nothing else, gives you some food for thought.
exactly.
So we'll be back.
Yes,
Uh,
we will. And
we'll
remember,
be
life
back.
happens to everybody.
Life happens to everybody. Dot, dot, dot. I love you, honey bunny.
I love you, honey buddy. Bye
All right.
bye.